Jody. Jody. Oh, I'm sorry. Get out of your way.
No problem. I'm fine.
Hey, where's your buddy? He's about to get axed. This is 2 weeks. He's fired. Tell him don't come back. He's on a long one now. He's on a long one now. We don't need him. Tell him. Yeah, we go. Yeah.
Hey, Randall.
That's probably Skylar right there calling you and telling you. You think it'd be fun if I just did go out there? I'm on that break right now. Sorry, this is why I didn't come out there. I thought I hit the ring again today.
Well, I gave her as much early run as I could. I gave her as much early run as I could. On. Add on.
Oh, here's the second one. Let me call her back.
Jody Fry.
I just got the second card.
The last page, Charlie Cook, cross them out. That's what you're getting on the first end of the first one.
Now what?
Charlie Cook, page 13.
Oh, okay. Are we just taking it out? Pin 956?
Yes.
And we're taking it out?
Pick Jody.
We're skipping it, right?
Yes, because that's what you're getting on the last of the first one. Thank you.
Story's not gonna be here today? Awesome. Story gonna be here today? I see Al sitting in his spot.
Page 13, we're skipping
Maybe
it.
Al or Marty's probably by him, I
That's the
imagine.
two black hairs. Oh, we got another.
Where were you this
We're
morning?
skipping that one on that. And then this other one. You know where you got the bull tab after Jimmy Weir?
What'd they do? Pull it too?
Yeah, she talked to her. She talked to her. About that Charlie Cook, 956. Okay.
The two black calves that were switched.
And you've got a. So there's two.
I couldn't.
Two additional owners that own the car. Where they coming from? Why did Frank move? Why did Chris move to 53? But what it was two. Oh, okay. All right, everybody on the side. Turn that up a little bit, please. Everybody on the inside, come on in, get a good seat. Let's go. Everybody on the inside, here we go. Okay, Black Boat will start with. 175, $6. 175, that's $6. 176, $7. I better $7, $8, $9, $9, $78, $9, $80, bitty bitty one, one, two, three, bitty bitty 82, A3, 4, 5, 84, 95, 96, bitty 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 6, A6, A6, 185, Lone Star 1, Lone Star number 1. 150 now on, 150 here, but one, 150 on the money, 1, 2, 3, but 4, but a bit of 5, but a bit of 6, but a bit of 7, but 8, $159, $60, 1, but a bit of 1, 160, Lone Star 1. 180 and 1, $1, money 1, 2, 81, now 2, $2, 81, 2, 3, 4, 84, 5, 6, 85, $86, 85, $6, 185, Marty 17. 85, $6, 185, 6, 7, 86, 87, $8, $9, $89, $88, 9, $88, 9, 91, $1, 92, 93, 194, 95, 95, $195, $96, $196, 6, 195, Lone Star 1. 88, 99, 188, 9, 90, 90, 190, 190, 191, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 197, 96, 97, 97, 97, 196, Lone Star 1. $144.5, 5, but my money 5. $144.5. We'll get him going. $144.5. $145, 5, 4.95. $144, Marty numbers 20. Marty 20. 150 and 1, 150 he would one, money 1, $150 now 1, $1, 150, Marty number 13. 879, 133, now 4, 133, now 4, now 4, money 4, 33, 34, 35, 36, 7, $8, $9, now 40, now 1, minute 2, bit 3, bit 4, 145, $46, 45, $46, 145, 46, 6, 6, 46, 145, Marty number 17. Hey, 150 now 2, 150 now $2, 2, 4, bit of $2, 6, 8, bit of $60, $2, 4, $6, 8, $168, $8, 166, Marty 17. 130 now 1, 31, but 1, money 1, 130 now 1, but 131, 130, Tom 1. Watch him. 140 now one, able one to 140 now one, money one, 140 now one, able one to 1 2 2 3, 42 now 3, 114 now 3, 3 3 3 3 3 3, 3, 142, Marty 99.
Backside 49, 49, 49, 49. 50.
No, we haven't. How about you? 'Like lupus or something? Oh, hell. Oh, hell. 177 $8, $78, 178 9, $178 9, 178 9 980, 180, 180, 180, 180, 179, Lone Star 1.
Backside. Backside 57, 57. 57, 57.
112, 113, 13, 112, 13, 113, 12, 13, on the money, $13, 113, 12, 13, 12, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17, 17, 116, Cliffy, 22, Cliffy, 2, 2.
52, 52, 52, 52.
Young Cap. It's happening. 117, 19, 117, 170. Now one. Everybody $1 two. 171 two. Two two three. Bit four. Bit five. Six seven. $8. $9. $9. 80 to one. 181 two. 1 2 3. Bit 4. 84. $183 four. 84 94 94 94. 183. Show number 8. Show number 8. $150 one. 150. Now one two. Bit 3. Bit 4. Bit 5. Bit 6 7 8 9. $60 one. 62 3. Bit 4. Bit 5. Bit 6. Bit 7. Bit 7. $7. $168. $8. $9. $9. 70. Bit 1. 171. Bit 1. 170. Lone Star 1. It's having a hand. 170 now one. 170 now one. Money one. 2. 3. 4. 175. 176. 77. $7. $8. $9. 80. 1. 81 2. 81 2. 3. 4. 85. 86. 87. 87. 187. 186. Lone Star 1. 160 now one. Every one on money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8, 8, 9, 9, 9, 70, 1, about 1, 2, 73, 4, 5, 76, 75, $6, 175, $6, $6, $6, 6, 175, Lone Star 1. Name out that boom. 150 now one. 150 here with $1 one. 150 now one. Money 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 55. 156. 157. 58. 59. $60 one. 162. 2. 2. 3. 3. 4. 5. 5. 165. 5. 5. 5. 164. Shoat number 8. Shoat number 8. Okay, sell the black one. She's a little bit stifled. $790, $2, $2, $90, $4, $92, 6, $98, $2, $4, $4, $4, 6, 118, 12, 112, 14, 16, 16, 16, 114, 16, 18, 20, 2, 4, 6, 128, 28, 28, 28, $8, 26, $8, $8, 128, 126, Marty 4, Marty 4, 7.5, 110, 112, 110, 112, 14, 16, 18, 22, 4, 26, 28, 132, 4, 32, 4, 6, 8, 38, 40, 42, 4, 144, now 6, 148, 148, 50, 150, 152, $2, 4, 4, 4, 6, 56, 58, 60, 162, 2, 4, 4, 64, 6, 8, $8, 70, 170, 2, 4, 74, 74, 74, 74, 172, Brian Hoffman, 5, Brian Hoffman, number 5, 135, $6, 135, money 6, 7, 8, 9, now 40, now 1, 2, 43, 4, 5, 7, 45, $6, $7, $8, 48, 9, 150, 150, 150, 150, now 50, 151, 151, 151, 151, 151, 150, show number 99, show 99, show 99. 99s and 8s together. 140 now one. 140 on the money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 146, 7, 8, 8, 9, $50, 51, 51, 51, 51, 2. 152, 151 now 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. 151 Lone Star. By the head. What do you got? 300 now 25. 300 by 25. 300, money's down 25. Yes, sir. 325. Want to hit him lick? 325, 50, 350, 75, $400, 400 and a quarter, 4 and a half, 4 and a half, 4 and a half, 475, $500, 500 and a quarter, 5 and a quarter, 5 and a quarter, 500 and a quarter, and a quarter, got a bit half, 5 and a half, 5 and a half, 75, 575, 575, 575, 550. Tom 3 by the head. Tom 3, Tom 3. Happening $1 now, $2, $2, $2, $2, 102 on the money. $2, $2, $2, 4. 104.6, 108, 108, 10, 10, 10, 12, 14, 114, 16, 18, 18, 18, 20, 122, 24, 246, 8, 28, 30, 132, 24, 37, 38, 38, 38, 38, 136, Brian Hoffman. Number 5, Brian Hoffman, 5, 144.95, 144.95, 4, 5, 5, 4, money, 5, 6, 7, 47, 7, 8, 48, 9, 148, $9, 148, now 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 148, Lone Star.
Backside, 25, 25, 25.
It happened at $2 now, $2. $2 now, 2, 4, 2, 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 2, 4, about 6, 228, $30, $2, $4, $6, about 236, 236, 236, 236, 234, Nolan 29, no, 59, Nolan 59, Nolan 59.
Yeah, 100, 100, 100, 100. Hey,
76. Okay, sell the little one with the tag over there. 190 now two, 190 now $2. Sell the little one over there. 190 now two, 190 but $2. 192, 160 now two, 160 on the money now two, 224, 60, 246, 8, 68, 70, 172 but $2, $4, $4, 4, 4, 246, 78, 78, 80, 180, 182, 182, 4, 8246, 86, $86, 88, 188, 88, 88, 88, 186, Letty 95. Okay, you're buying the big steer, 2 big steers, one on the scales and one here. You're buying the 2 big ones. 117, 18, 117, 18. Buying 2 big steers. On the money, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 22, 3, 4, 24, 24, 4, 4, 3, 9, 4, $123, 4, 4, 4, 4, 24, 24, 24, 123, Marty 99. Got one on scale and one out here.
backside, 49, 49, 49, 49. Shoot off. Shoot off. 136, 136, 136, 136. 136.
The young cow here. By the head here. By the head. 550, 575. By the head. 550, 75, 600, 9 quarter, 9 quarter, 9, 75, $700, $700, $700, 9 quarter, 9 quarter, 7 and a quarter, 7 and a half, 75, 775, 800, 9 quarter, 800 and a quarter and a half, 8 and a half, 875, $900, 9 and a quarter, 9 and a quarter, 9 and a half, 9 and a half, 75, 75, 950. By the head, 75, now $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, 975. Tom 1, Tom 1. By the head. Is that right here?
5, 1.
Over there, 130, not two. Where? 130, not two, money two. $132, two. 132, money's down 2, 4, 6, 8, 42, 44, 46, 48, 150, 152, 4, 54, 54, 154. Now 4, now 4, now 4, now 4, now 4. 152, Tom 1, Tom 1. Seven had $2 now $5 $2 on the money now $5 now $5 now $5 now $5 10 10 but 2 10 15 15 15 15 2 15 2 15 20 but 2 20 now 5 but 30 but 2 30 now 5 but 40 but 2 40 now 5 52 50 now 5 but 60 but 2 65 70 275 but 75 75 75 75 75 270 Letty number 21 Letty 2-1. 150, now 2.5, 150, now 2.5, money, 2.5, 55, 57.5, 160, now 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 5, 7.5, 170, 172.5, 2.5, 5, 75, 7.5, 80, 180, 2.5, 185, 85, 7.5, 87.5, 90, 190, now 2.5, 2.5, 97.5, 97.5, $2, 2.5, 2.5, 5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 7.5, 7.5, 10, 12.5, 12.5, 12.5, 15, 217, 220, 2.5, 225, 25, 25, 25, 222.5, Lady number 95, Lady 95. 7 here, 140, now 2, $2, 140, now 2, money, 2, 4, 6, 8, 148, $148, 48, 46, 8, 52, 54, 54, 52, 46, 56, 156, $8, $8, 58, 60, 162, 22, 44, $2, 496, 168, $8, 70, 170, 170, 170, 168, Tom 5, Tom 5. $135, 137, 38 money, 7, 35, 37, 137, 37, 35, 37, $139, $9, 41, 43, 5, 7, 49, 151, 51, 51, 53, 153, 151, now 3, now 3, now 3, now 3, now 3, now 3, 151, Tom 5. Oh, what's underneath that a little bit? $1, now $5 bill on the money, 5, 10, 15, 25, but a 35, but a 40, now 5, 150, 150, 150, 150, 150, 150, 150, both of you out up there, 150, 150, 150, 150, 145, Marty number 4. By the head. 200 by the head, now 25, 200 on the money, 25, 50, now 50, 75, 300, 300 and a quarter, 3 and a quarter, 3 and a quarter, half, 350, 75, 375 by the head, 400, 400, 400, now quarter, 4 and a quarter, 4 and a quarter, 400 now quarter, cut, 400 and a quarter, 400 by the head, Tom 3. 95, $96, 95, 6, 7, 8, $9, $1, $2, 1, 2, 4, $106, $8, $8, $10, $10, 12, 14, 116, 118, 120, 122, 122, 22, 4, 49, 49, 49, 49, 124, 122, fry 2, fry 2. 1, hold up.
And a 2 deer offer 1864 spring. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, $139 $139 4, but 32 now 4, 6, 36, 38, 38, 40, now 2, now 4, now 6, 48, 148, 46, 8, $8, 48, 50, 150, 150, 152, 52, 52, 52, 152, 4, but $2, 4, now 4, now 6, now 6, now 8, 58, 58, 158, 160, but 2, but $2, 4, but 6, 168, $70, but 2, but 4, but 72, 46, 76, 176, 76, 76, 76, 174. Hey. Okay, over there, 245 now 7, 245 now 7, not a 7, 245, 247, 7, not a better money, 7, 9, 249, 51, 53, 55, 57, 9, 261, now 3, now 5, now 7, 65, 265, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 263, shoat number 8, shoat number 8. Show number 8 over there, 290, now 2.5, 290, 290, 2.5, 5, 97, 8, now $3, 2.5, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12.5, 15, 17, 20, 2.5, 3, 20, 2.5, 5, 3, 27.5, 30, 2.5, 5, 35, 335, 35, 35, 332.5, lady number 94, lady 94, lady 94, $2.50, now 5, 250, now 5, money 5, 260, 5, 75, 80, 5, 290, 5, 295, now $3, now 5, 10, 15, 20, 5, 30, 5, 40, 340, 340, 340, 340, 335, lady 93. It's happening. $145, $46, $145, $46, $6, money 7, 8, 49, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 154, 55, 55, 6, 7, 7, not a 7, 58, 58, 58, 58, 158, 157, Lone Star. Sell a Red Bull, 250 now 2, 252, 46, about a 2, red one, 256, 8, $60, $8 more, 64, 6, 8, but a 72, but a 274, 76, 78, 82, but a 4, but a 6, 88, 90, but a 2, but a 4, 96, 296, 296, 296, 296, 296, 294, Nolan 56, Nolan 56, Nolan 56. 7.5, $3 now 2, $3 now money 2, $3 now 2 4, 3 4 6 8, 3 8 3 10, 3 12, 3 12, 14, with a bit of 14, 16, with a bit of 3 18, with a bit of 18 20, with a bit of 2, with a bit of 4, with a bit of 6, 3 28, 28, 30, with a bit of 3 34, with a bit of 34, 36, 38, 38, 3 40, with a bit of 40, 40, 43, 43, 43, 40, 338, capital number 40, 34, 35. 7.5, 380 now 5, 380 on the money now 5, 95, $4 now 5, 10, 15, 25, but a 30, but a 5, but a 40, but a 5, but a 55, 460, 455, 460, 460, 460, 455. Troy 2, Troy 2, Troy 2. Say, pronounce that right here. 290 now. Oh, what is it? 290 now 5, 290 now 5, money 5, but 290 now 5 now, with a $3 now 5 now 10 now 15 25 30 with a bit of 330 327 half 30 with a bit of 330 2.5. Hold it one everybody 330 2.5 out 335 330 2.5 now 5 5 5 5 5 with about 335 332 and a half. Troy number 3. $210, 12 and a half, 210, 212 and a half, 210, 212 and a half, 10, 12 and a half, 210, 12 and a half, 210, 212 and a half, 12 and a half, 210, 212 and a half. Okay, gonna call the shipper. $2 now 2.5, $2 now 2.5. Two bid price, $3 now 2.5, $2 now 2.5, $2 now 2.5, 2.5, 180 now 2.5, 180 now 2.5, money 2.5, 5, 185, 87 and a half, 187 and a half, 187 and a half, 7 and a half, 185. Tom 3, that's a bid price. $80 one, 80 he $1 money one, $80 now one, 80 he $1 81, 81, 82, 82, 82, 83, 83, 83, 3, 82, 3, 4, 84, 85, 86, 86, 7, 87, 87, 87, 87, 87, 86, fry two. Sell the bull. It's happening. $2 now, $2 on money, $2 two. 2024, 204, 204, 204, 202, 204, 204, 204, 204, 204, 204. 202, Nolan 29, Nolan 29, Hefferkind 230, now 2, 230, now 2, 230, now 2, 22, 44, 34, 34, 34, 232, 46, 36, 38, $40, $2, $4, $6, $8, 52, 54, 54, 54, 56, 256, 256, $6, $6, 254, H71, H71. Okay, weaned and vaccinated. All right, Jones cattle on your pass up. Had Subway and anthrax and wormed with 4-ounce seductin and had all the shots. 255, 57, 255, 257, $9, now 61, now 3, now 5, now 7, 9, 71, 73, 75, 77, 9, 81, 83, 85, 87, 89, 91, 91, 291, 291, 91, 91, 91, 91, 289, H22, H22. Okay, gonna hold one heifer. Okay, sell 3 head, 3 head, 3 head. 285, 87, 285, 87, 87, 87, 87, 9, 89, 91, 93, 95, 97, 99, 301, 303, 303, 305, 307, 307, $9, 9, 11, 11, 11, 311, 309, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 309, Troy 1, Troy 1, Troy 1, 250, now 2, 4, 252, now 4, now 4, 4, 6, 8, 262, 4, 66, 8, 70, 270, 24, 246, 78, 82, 4, 86, 88, 288, 288, 288, 288, 286, H71, H71. It's happening here. $3 now 5. $3 now money 5, 10, 15, 20, bit of 5, bit of 30, bit of 5, bit of 3. $210, now 15, 210, 215, money 25, 35, 45, 50, bit of 5, 260, now 5, now 70, 275, 80, 280, 80, 280, 285, 85, 85, 285, 290, 290, 290, now 5, 295, $3, bit of $3, now 5, bit of $3, now 5, $3 now 5, 5, 5, $3 now 5, $3, lady number 93, lady 93, $2.50, now 2.5, 250, 2.5, 7.5, 260, 2.5, 7.5, 70, 2.5, 7.5, 80, 82 and a half, 85, 87 and a half, 90, 290, 290, 290, 290, 290, 287 and a half, Troy 1, Troy 1. Got a steers happening at $3 now 5, $3 2.5 on the money, 2.5, $3 down 2.5, 5, 305, 7.5, 10, 12 and a half, 15, 79, 20, 322 and a 5, 327 and a 30, 2.5, 5, 37 and a 337 and a half, 337 and a half, 337 and a half, 335, Troy 5. That's Subway shot. $310, 15, 310, 315 on money. Got the money at 15, 310, 15, 312 and a half, not 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 17 and a half, 20, 320, 2 and a half, 320, 25, 25, 27 and a half, 327 and a half, 30, 330, 30, 32 and a half, 32 and a half, 332 and a half, 5, 35, 35, 37 and a half, 337 and a half, 337 and a half, 37 and a half, 337 and a half, 335, capital number 42. Two big ones, sell two big ones, $2.90 now 5, $2.90 on the money 5, $2.95, $3 now 5, $10, $10, 10 now 15, 315, 20, but 2.5, 5, 7.5, 30, 2.5, 335, 37.5, 337.5, 37.5, 37.5, 37.5, 335, capital 92. 340, 95, 340, 95, 340 on the money, 95, 55, 65, 75, 80, 55, 385, 385, 382 and a half, 292 and a half, 292, 382 and a half, 85, 85, 87 and a half, 387 and a half, 87 and a half, 387 and a half, 387 and a half, 387 and 90, 390, 390, 90, 90, 90, 90, 387 and a half, lady 94. $3 now 5, 10, 15, 25, 35, 40, 55, 55, 365, 75, 80, 55, 385, 385, 85, 85, 85, 380, Troy number 21, Troy 21.
7-1.
That's a 7-way shot from Moss. 285, 87 and a half, 285, 87 and a half, 285, 87 and 90, 290, 90, but about 90, 290, 90, 90, 90, but about 90, 290, 290, 290, 290, 287 and a half, capital 34. Okay, hold the tag. You're buying two here. 315, 17 half, 317 half, money 17 half, 315, 317 half, 17 half, 17 half, 17 half, 370, 317 half, now 20, 320, 2 and a half, 325, 325, 7 half, 7 half, 325, capital number 35. 3 hit, Andy. Solid black steer. It's 7 and a half, 310, 12 and a half, 15, 79, 20, 2 and a half, 5, 7 and a half, 32 and a half, 5, 7 and a half, 42 and a half, 5, 7 and a half, 50 with a bit of 352 and a half, 355, 355, 7 and a half, 357 and a half, 357 and a half, 7 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 and a half. I got them. 357 and a half. 355, Mr. What's that name, please? Mullen, Mr. Mullen. Thank you. 7 and a half, $3, now 2 and a half, $3 on the money, now 2 and a half, 302 and a half, 302 and a half, 5, 305, 7, 8, 10, 12 and a half, 12 and a half, 3, 12 and a half, 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 310, D&D 53, D&D 53 on the bull here, $72.50, now 42, 242, 4, 242, 4, 242, 94, 94, 94, 94, 94, 94, 94, 244, 242, Nolan, 27, 242. Nolan 27. Waiting for about a week and had an 8-way shot. 280, 2 and a half, 280, now 2 and a half, 280, 2 and a half, 7 and a half, now 90, 290, 290, 2 and a half, 292 and a half, 295, 97 and a half, 7 and a half, $3, $3, $3, $3, $3, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, 305, 7 and a half, 37, 8, 10, 310, 10, 10, 10, $10, 10, 307 and a half, that'll be capital 31, capital 31. 295, 97, 97, 9, 299, 301, 303, 305, 7, 39, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 317, 317, 317, 317, 315, D&D 24. Look, boys, waited a couple of months, and they've had a 7-way shot, and Covexon 8. 2 black heifers, 330, now 2 and a half, 330, now money, 5, 7 and a half, 40, but a 2 and a half, but a 5, but a 45, 7 and a half, 350, 350, but 2 and a half, but a 25, but a 55, 7 and a half, 60, but a 2 and a half, but a 5, 67 and a half, 70, 2 and a half, 5, but a 75, 375, 375, 372 and a half, D&D 4. 330, 95, 330, 95, 45, with another 50, with about 350, 350, 5, with a 60, with a 5, with a 70, with a 5, with a 80, with a 385, 90, 95, $4, with a 5, with a 10, with a 15, with a 20, with a 4, 25, 30, 430, 30, 30, with a 30, 430, 425, D&D 31, D&D 31. Same cattle, waiting a couple of months, had shots. 340, now 5, 340, now 5, money, 550, with a 355, with a 355, 60, 360, 5, with a 70, with a 80, with a 80, with a 5, 85, 85, 90, 90, 95, with a 95, $4, $4, $4, $4, $4, 395, $4, $4, $4, $4, $4, $4, 395, Troy, 4, Troy, 4.
Triangle 10, 3 by 20.
New deal. Okay, they've been waiting 3 months at a triangle 10. Two big ones, 330, now 5, 330, now 5, money 540, 550, 565, 370, 580, but about 5, but 85, 90, 5, 95, $4, $4, $4, $4, 5, 405, 10, 410, 15, 20, with a bit of 5, but about 30, with a bit of 435, 435, 430, lady number 93. Heifer can 330, now 5 at 330, money 5 at 40, 5, 55, 65, 75, 85, 90, 5 at $4, 5 at 10, at 15, 20, 420, now 5, 425, 25, 25, 25, 420, Troy 11, Troy 11. Okay, they've had a 7-way shot.
76, 76, 76.
375, 80, money 85, and a 90, but a 5, and a 4, $4, 2.5, 4, 5, 405, 7 and a half, 10, 410, 10, 10, 10, 12 and a half, 4, 12 and a half, 410, 12 and a half, 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 4, 12 and a half, 410, Troy 4. Two more, 3 or more, 3 or more. 3 or more, you can hold one if you need to. 2 more? Okay, let's do 2 or more. 310, 12 and a half, 310, 12 and a half, money 12 and a half, 15, 315, 79, 20, 320, 2 and a half, but a bit of 5, but a 327 and a half, 327 and a half, 30, 330, 2 and a half, but a 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, but a 37 and a half, 337 and a half, 40, 340, 2 and a half, but a bit of 5, but a bit of 45, 7 and a half, 47 and a half, 50, 350, 50, 2 and a half, but a 2 and a half, 5, but a 57 and a half, but a bit of 60, 360, 2 and a half, but a bit of 5, but a bit of 5, 7 and a half, 370, but a bit of 70, 70, 70, 370, 370, 370, 367 and a half, Simpson 6. Sell one big one, 310, 12 and a half, money, 12 and a half, 310, 15, 79, 20, 320, 2 and a half, 25, 7 and a half, 30, but 2 and a half, 5, 35, 35, 37 and a half, 40, but 2 and a half, but 5, 345, 42 and a half, 5, 5, 5, 5, but 5, 342 and a half, Simpson 6. 7 and a half, 280, now 2 and a half, 290, but 2 and a half, 282 and a half, 280, 257 and a half, 90, 2 and a half, 95, 97 and a half, $3, 2 and a half, 302 and a half, 5, 305, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 10, 310, 12 and a half, 12 and a half, 15, but 79, but 20, but 2 and a half, but 5, 327 and a half, but 327 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 325, Troy 4, Troy 4. So two heifers. 320, not 2 and a half, 320, 2 and a half, money 2 and a half, 327 and a half, 330, with a 2 and a half, with 32, 5, 35, 37 and a half, with 40, 340, not 2 and a half, 45, 47 and a half, 40, 50, 350, 2 and a half, 55, 55, 7 and a half, 357 and a half, 357 and a half, 357 and a half, 355, capital 92. Capital 92. Okay, gonna hold the big heifer over there. 295, 97 and a half. 295, money 7 and a half. 297 and a half now, $3. $3, 2 and a half, 305, 305, 305, 5, 7 and a half. 7 and a half, 10, 10, 10, 10, 12 and a half. 12 and a half, 15, 15, 15, 79, 379, 379, 379, 379, 379, 315. Troy number. Troy 1. $270 now, 2 and a half on the money, 5, 7 and a half, 280, 2.5, 85, 85, 85, 7 hand, 90, 290, 290, 2.5, 290, 25, 95, 95, 97, 97 half, 297 half, 7 half, 7 half, 7 half, 297 half, 295 capital 94. 320 now 2.5, 320 you bet, 2.5, 325, 7.5, 30, 330, 2.5, 35 and a 7.5, 337 half 40, 340, 40, 40, but a 2.5, 2.5, 5, 340, 7 half 50, 350, 50, 50, 2.5, 2.5, 350, 2.5, 355, 55, 7.5, 360, 2.5, 5, 7 half, 70, 370, 370, 367 half, Troy number 3, Troy 3. So two blacks, 340 now 5, money 5, 55, 65, but a 370, but a 5, but a 80, but a 5, but a 90, but a 5, but a $4 5, $405, $405, $5, $4, Troy 21, Troy 21, $3 now 5, $3 now 5, $3 on the money 5, but a $3 now 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 305, 305, 305, 305, 10, 10, 10, 10, 15, 15, 15, 315, 315, 310, Troy number 3. Look at the Dusek cattle. They have been weighing 3 weeks. Something there, 280, 925, 85, 82, 95, 285, 85, 85, 280, 295, 85, 87, half, 290, but 290, 5, 97 half, $3, but $3, $3, $297 half, $3, $3, $297 half, D&D 53, D&D 53, 310, 12 and a half, 310, 12 and a half, money 15, 79, 20, but 2.5, 327 half, but 327 half, 30, 330, 2 and a half, 295, 35, 37 half, 40, 340, 2 and a half, but 5, but 345, 45, 342 and a half, 555, but 345, 342 and a half, that'll be EC 550. 250 now, 2 and a half, now 5, 255, 252, 5, 7 and a half, $60, 2 and a half, 5, 7 and a half, 72 and a half, 272 and a half, 270, 2 and a half, 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 270, Nolan 56, Nolan 5-6. Every kind, 7 and a half, 290, 2 and a half, 290, 2 and a half, 290, 5, 95, 97 and a half, now $3 now, 2 and a half, 5, 7 and a half, 310, 12 and a half, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 315, 17 and a half, 20, 320, 20, 20, 79, 20, 320, 320, 320, 320, 317 and a half, D&D, number 9, number 9. Had a 7-way shot. 7 and a half, 315, 17 and a half, 315, 7 money, 17 and a half, 315, 17 and a half, 17 and a half, 17 and a half, 315, 17 and a half, 17 and a half, 17 and a half, 17 and a half, 315, Simpson 6. $295, 97, not a 9. Now 301, 303, 305, 307, 307, 7, not a 7, not a 9. 309, 307, 9, not a 9, not a 9, not a 9. 309, 309, 309, 309, 307, Simpson 7. That's that one shot worm with Alvamac. It's happening at 230, not 2 and a half, 230 almighty 2 and a half, 230, 295, 35, 35, 230, 2 and a half, 5, 5, 5, 5, 35, 32 and a half, now 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 235, 232 and a half, Nolan 29. $7, $2.60, now 2 and a half, 260, 2 and a half, 5, 265, 2 and a half, now 5, 5, 265, 265, 265, 262 and a half, Nolan 27. So little one, 280 now 2.5, 280, 2.5, money, 2.5, 280, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 5, 85, 85, 85, 285, 87 half, 290, 90, 2.5, now 5, 95, 97 half, 7, 8, 297 half, 297, 8, 297 half, 295, capital number 90. 7 half, $2.15 now 252 4, 254 6 8, $60, $2 4 6 $8 72, 274 76 78 82 with the board 86 286 284 86 86 284 D&D 93. Evercan 7.5, 270, now 2.5, 270, 2.5, 5, but it's 7.5, 80, 2.5, 85, 87, 90, 2.5, 95, 295, 295, 95, 95, 95, 290, 2.5, D&D 93. What?
William 639.
$340, now 5, money 5, 55, 65, 75, 80, 5, 90, 395, $4. $4, $395, that'll be Troy 4. 7 half, 320, now 5, 320, now 5, money 5, 30, 55, 40, 5, 350, now 350, 50, 50, 50, 345, now 50, now 50, now 50, now 50, 350, 350, 345, capital 35.
Mark Duncan.
Okay, went a couple of weeks, had Triangle 5 and Cove Exon 8. 280, now 2.5, 280, now 2.5, 280, 2.5, money, 2.5, 280, 2.5, 80, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 280, 25, 85, 87, 90, 290, 2.5, 95, 95, 97, now $3, 2.5, 302 and a half, 302 and a half, 2.5, $3, capital 94. Sell tag steer calf. 350 now 5, 350 now 5, money 5, 60, 75, 85, 85, 90, 390, 390 now 5, 95, 390, 2.5, 390, 290, 290, 290, 90, 2.5, 390, Mullen, isn't that right, Mullen? Thank you, Mullen. Right here, 320 now money, now 5, 325, 320 now 5, 320 now 5, 320, 2.5, 320, and that'll be D&D 50.
Riley Walter.
Okay, we in 30 days had an 8-way shot. Sell 2 steers, 270, now 2.5, 270, on money, 257, 277, 280, 82 and a half, 280, 2.5, 280, 2.5, 280, D&D 53, D&D 53. 270, now 2.5, 2.5, 75, 7.5, 80, 2.5, 5, 87, 90, 290, 2.5, 97, half, $3, 2.5, 3, 7, 8, 10, 12 and a half, 15, 15, 3, 15, 15, 15, 15, 3, 15, 3, 12 and a half, D&D 24, 14, D&D 14, D&D 14.
They're on the top of page 10.
Okay, they've had a 7-way shot and respiratory shot. Okay, you do not get the tag over there. You're buying 3 head. 292 and a half, 295, 95, 97 half, now $3, $3, $3, 297 half, $3, $3, 2 and a half, 302 and a half, 292 and a half, 292 and a half, 2 and a half, 302 and a half, 302 and a half, and 5, and 7 and a half, but 7, 8, 10, and $10, $10, 3 and 10, $10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, but 3, 10, 3, 10, 10, but 10, 307 and a half, cap 31, cap 31, cap 31. 7 here, 320, now 5, 320, on the money, 530, now 5, now 40. now 5, now 50, now 5, 355, 350, now 5, 5, 5, 350, Troy 4. Sell big one. 7 320, now 5, money 530, 545, 350, now 5, but a 355, 60, 360, 5, but 70, but a 370, 370, 370, 370, 370, 365, capital number 35. Seven here, 370, now 5, money 580, now 595, now $4 down, 5, now 10, 410, 15, 20, 420, 15, 20, now 5, 425, 25, 25, 25, 25, 425, 420, Troy number 4, 2, Troy 2, Troy 2. Sale one big one, 260, now 2.5, 5, 270, now 5, now 80, now 5, now 90, now 5, but a 295, 292 and a half, 290, 2.5, 290, 290, 290, capital 5. 315, 79, money, 7820, 2.5, now 5, now 7.5, 30, but a 330, 2.5, 37.5, 40, 2.5, but a 5, but a 345, 42.5, now 5, 5, 5, 5, 345, 342.5, capital 3. Oh, they have been waiting 60 days, worm with Ivomac. To the Red Bull. Over there, 250 now 2.5, 5, 52 and 55, 255, 55, 55, 55, 2.5, 7.5, 260, now 2.5, now 5, now 7.5, 70, but 270, 270, 270, 267.5, Nolan 59, Nolan 59. 7, 216, now 5, money 5, 216, now 5, but it's 17, but a bit of 5, but 80, but a bit of 5, but a 90, but a 5, but a $3, but a 5, $3 now 2.5, 302 and 295, 305, 37, 10, 12 and a half, but a 12 and a half, 12 and a half, 12 and a half, 310, D&D 24. Got a little bit of blue eye. $2 now 5, $2 money 5, $2 now 5, 10, 215, 20, but a 5, but a 30, but a 5, but a 45, 250, 255, 260, now 5, now 70, now 5, 80, but a 5, 285, 90, 295, 95, $3, but a 5, but a $3, 5, 10, 15, but a 15, 20, now 5, 330, but a 5, but a 335, 335, 330, D&D 91, D&D 91. Sell the tag over there. Sell the tag. 330 now 5. 330 now 5. Sell the tag. Money 5. 340 but a 5 but a 50. 350. 350 now 5 but a 355. 5 5 355. 355. 350 Letty 94. You got the tag. Okay, sell the bull. Bull that's left here. 250 now 5, money 5. 250 now 5, 5 5, 255, 260 now 5, but a bit of 70, but a 5, but a 80, but a bit of 5, but a 285, 95, 295, 95, 95, 95, 95, 95, 290, D&D 94. 220, now 5, money 5, 225, 30, now 5, now 40, now 5, now 50, now 5, now 60, now 5, now 70, 5, but a bit 280, but a bit of 5, 25, 90, 95, but a 95, $3, 5, but a 10, but a 15, 315, 315, 315, 20, but a bit of 20, now 5, 325, 325, 320, D&D 91. Okay, waiting 60 days, had a 7-way shot with Spur and one with poor on Ivomac. Sell 3 head. Sell 3 head. 220, now 5. Turn 20, now 5. 220, now 5 at a 220. On the money, 5 at a 220, now 5. 225, 30, 5, 235, 232 knife, 230, 29, 29, 29, 29, 2 knife, 230, lady, 95, lady, 95. 7 hand, 150, now 5. 150, now 5. 150, now 5. 155, 150 on the money, 5. 560, now 5. Now 70, now 5. 180, 180, now 5. 85, 185, 190, 190, 190, 190, 90, 185, Brian Hoffman. Tell me here, $2, now 15, now 5, turn 50, now 5, turn 50, now 2.5, 252 money, 2.5, 250, 2.5, 250, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 255, 257, 260, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 260, lady, 94.
We've been on a new deal. Not one. I know. Mike Barnett. Those others look horrible. There was 8 of them. This makes 8 and 10 435.
Sell 2 big ones. 340, you say now 5. 340, now 5. On the money, now 550. 355, 360, 70. 370, now 2.5, 2.5, 375, 7.5, 80, 2.5, 80, 2.5, 85, 385, 385, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 380, 2.5, Simpson 35. 380, now 5, and a 380, now 5, money, 5, and a 380, now 5, 380, now 5, and a 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 385, 380, Troy, 4. Every guy, 7 and 250, now 2.5, 250, now 2.5, 2.5, money, 2.5, 250, 2.5, 55, 57 half, 257 half, 257 half, 7 half, 7 half, 7 half, 7 half, 7 half, 7 half, 255, EC 60, EC 60. Hurricane 7 half, $2 now 2.5, $2 now 2.5, $2.5, $2.5, $2.5, $2 now 2.5, $2, bid 2.5, $2.5, $2.5, $2, bid 2.5, $2, 2.5, bid 2.5, $2.5, 180, 2.5, 182.5, 85, 85, 2.5, 5, 85, 85, $85, 185, 185, 185, 185, 182.5. Chase, there you go. 210, 12 and a half, 210, 212 and a half, 210, 12 and a half, 210, 212 and a half, 15, 17 and a half, 20, 2 and a half, a bit of 5, a bit of 7 and a half, 230, 2 and a half, a bit of 30, 2 and a half, 5, 35, 35, 37 and a half, 237 and a half, 237 and a half, 37 and a half, 37 and a half, 37 and a half, 235, D&D 93. All right, had Triangle 5 and Covaxin 8. 7 8, 220, 9 2 and a half, 222, 5 7 and a half, 230, 9 2 and a half, 9 5, 9 7 and a half, 40, 2 and a half, 5 7 and a half, 247 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 and a half, 245, Nolan 27. $220 now 5, turn 20 now 5, one by the scales, $220 now 5, turn 20 now 5, 220 now 5, 220 now 5, 225, 5 5 at the minimum, 170 now 5, 80, 175, 180 now 5, 190, 195, 195, $19 now 5, now 10, 215, 215, 220, 220, 225, 225, 225, 30, 230, 230 now 5, 235, 235, Tom, yeah, 235, 235, 230, Mullen, Ween 30 days, 310, not 15, 310, 12 and a half, 310, 12 and a half, 310, 312 and a half, on the money, 12 and a half, 310, 12 and a half, 12 and a half, 15, 317 and a half, 320, but a bit of 2 and a half, but a bit of 25, but a bit of 25, 325, 322 and a half, capital number 92. 2. Okay, Wayne 2 months had a 7-way shot. Wayne 2 months. 220 and 295, 220, 295, 227 and a half, 230, but a 29, but a 5, but a 37 and a half, 40, but a 240, 240, now 40, now 40, now 40, now 40, 237 and a half, 871, 270, now 2 and a half, 2 and a half, money, 2 and a half, 5, 7 and a half, 80, but a 2 and a half, but 85, 2 to 5, 85, 87 and a half, 287 and a half, 90, 290, 90, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 595, 97 and a half, 7 and a half, 297 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 295 capped on 94. Got a bull, 270, 2 and a half, 270, money, 257 and a half, 80, but 80, 2 and a half, 285, 7 and a half, 90, 2 and a half, 95, 97 and a half, $3, but a 2 and a half, 305, 37 and a half, but a 10, but 12 and a half, 15, 370 and a half, 20, but 320, 2 and a half, but a 27 and a half, 30, but a 2 and a half, 335, 37 and a half, but a 40, but a 340, 2 and a half, but a 5, 345, 555, but a 5, 342 and a half, capital 35. Had a 7-way shot. 320, now 5. 320, now 5. 320, now 5. 320, on money 530, but 5, 330, 2 and a half, now 5. 35, 30, 2 and a half, 5. 37 and a half, 40, 340, but 40, now 40, now 40. 340, 340, 337 and a half, that'll be Troy 3. Sell one, big one, 330, now 5. 330, now 5, money, 5, but about 40, but about 5, but a 50, but a 5, but a 60, but a 5. 370, 370, but a 70, 70, 65, 70, 370, 370, 365, D&D 35. 7 half, 350, now 5, 65, 75, 85, 95, but a board out of 5. 410, 415, 415, 415, 415, 10, 15, 15, 15, but a bit of 415, 410, D&D 34. Okay, 7-way shot. 7 half, 360, now 5, 2 little ones, 360, now 570, 5, 80, 80, 5, 390, 90, 95, 95, 390, now 5, 555, 95, 95, 390, Troy 4. Say right here, 7 half, 350, now 5, 350, now 5, money, 5, 355, 60, 5, 70, 5, 75, 370, now 2 370, Troy 4. Seven hand, 170, $19 4, 174, 678, 82, 84, 86, 88, 90, 192, 94, 96, 98, $2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 220, 220, 218, 920, 920, 92, 222, 4, 4, 226, 8, 228, 28, 228, 30, 232, $230, Nolan 29. $4, now 5, money, 5, 10, 15, 20, 5, 30, 5, 40, 5, 450, 455, 460, 460, 460, 460, 460, 455, Troy 2. That's a 7-way shot. Two more, had a 7-way shot, $3, now 2 and a half. 302, 9, money, 5, 37, half, now 10, now 12 and a half, 15, 15, 70, now 20, 322 and a half, 5, 25, 25, 325, 322 and a half, 5, 5, 322 and a half, D&D 50. Steer 280, now 2 and a half, money, 2 and a half, 280, 2 and a half, 280, 2 and a half, 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 280, 2 and a half, 80, 2 and a half, 85, 85, 7 and a half, 287 and a half, 285, D&D 60. Two blacks, 280, now 2 and a half, 8, 2 and a half, 5, 7 and a half, 90, 2 and a half, 95, 95, 295, 7 and a half, $3, 2 and a half, 305, 37 and a half, 10, 12 and a half, 312 and a half, 312 and a half, 310, 12 and a half, 12 and a half, 12 and a half, 12 and a half, 310, capital 94. Selling here $2.40. Now 2.5, 2.40, 2.5, money 2.5, 5, 7.5, 50, 2.5, 55, 57.5, 2.60, 2.5, now 5, now 7.5, 70, 2.5, 2.70, 2.5, 5, with a bit of 75, 7.5, 2.70, 7.5, 2.75, D&D 95. 95? Isn't that what it said? Okay. What do you call them? Spring ranch.
11.
Okay, boy, Brand Wayne, 50 or 60 days. On a VAC 45 program, Wayne, 50 to 60 days. Jody, to hold two? Hold two or more, two. Hold any till you don't like. 310, 12 and a half. On the money, 12 and a half. 310, 3 on the VAC 45 program. 310, 3, 12 and a half. 310, 3, 12 and a half. 310, 3, 12 and a half. 310, 12 and a half. Money's down. Now let's go. 3, 12 and a half. Hold any till you don't like. 12 and a half, 15. 315, 315, 315, 315. 12 and a half, 13 help. 313. Wait a minute, 13, 14, 315, 315, 314, 15, 16. 316. 17. Wait a minute, 317, 17, 17, 17. 16, 17, 18. 18, 18, 18, 18, 318, 317, 18, 18, 18, 18, 318, 318, 317, Troy, 23. Okay, this is just right in. 270, now 2.5, 270, now 2.5. What do you need? 270, 2.5, money 2.5, 2.5, 75, 7.5, 280, 80, 2.5, 280, 2.5, 280, 2.5, 85, 85, 7.5, 287 and 90, 290, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.9, 2.9, 2.9, 2.9, 2.9, 95, 95, 95, 295, 97 and a half, 7 and a half, $3, $3, $3, $3, $3, $3, 297 and a half, Letty, 93. Back 45 program. $295, 97 and a half, $295, $297 and a half, $295. Oh, boy, it's 18, 95, 97 and a half, $295, 96, 97, 297, 297, 98. 298, 298, 98, 98, 99, 299, 299, 99, 9, 298, 9. Now $3, $3, $3, $3, $3 now one, $3 now one, $1, $1, now two, now two, now two, now two, now 302, 301, 302, 22, $2, 1 half, 2, 302, 302, 302 and a half, 292, 293, 33, 303 and a half, 39, 39, 303 and a half, 304, 304, half, 4.5, 304 and a half. 304 and a half, 305, 555, 305, 305, 305, 305 and a half, 5 and a half, 305 and a half, 5 and a half, 5 and a half, 6, 306, 306, 306, 306, 306, 306, 306, 306, 306, 306, 305 and a half, Troy 3, 23. It's 7 280, now 2.5. 2 2 5 7 90, 2 and 5, but 9 7 $3 2 and 5 7 but 10 10 12 and a half, 15 17 20 2 and 325 7 330 2 and 5 37 and 40 340 340 340 340 337 and a half, capital 3.
It's single jackpot.
13, 15, 310, 315, automatic 15, 25, 30, 5, 40, 5, 55, 355, 355, 60, 360, 60, 360, 355, capital 92.
Single jackpot. 18
260 now 5, automatic 5, 260 now 5, 260 now 5, 265, 5, 70, 80, 5, 25, 90, 95, $3, 5, 310, 15, 25, 325, 30, 5, 40, 340, 340, 340, 340, 335, lady number 9, 3.
It should be that George Tucker.
All right, Tucker cattle. 320, now 5, 320, on the money 5. 330, 5, 40, 5, 50, 5, 360, 60, 355, 360, 365, 70, 75, 375, 75, 75, 75, 370, lady 94. 330 now to 5, 330 now 5, money 5, 335, 329, 229, 229, 5, 35, 37, 340, 40, 340, 29, 45, 345, 7, 50, 350, 29, 50, 29, 50, 29, 50, 29, 350, 29, 350, 29, 350, capital 35. 230, now 2.5, 5, 35, 35, 235, 235, 7.5, 237, 40, 2.5, 5, 7.5, 240, 2.5, 5, 7.5, 250, now 2.5, 255, 255, 52.5, 5, 5, 5, 255, 255, 255, 252.5, Nolan 27, 7.5, $3 now, 2.5, money 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, 15, 17, 320, 2.5, now 5, 27, 30, 2.5, 5, 35, 37 half, 337 half, 37 half, 37 half, 337 half, 335 EC 500. Put them on 550. 550. 290, now 290, 290, now money, now 290, 290, 295, 97 half, $3, 295, 37 half, 37 half, 305, 37 half, 37 half, 7 half, 7 half, 7 half, 305, D&D number 4, 24, D&D 24. Every kind, 7.5, 320, not 2.5, 320 on money, 2.5, 5, 25, 7.5, 327 half, 330, 2.5, 32.5, 2.5, 335, 35, 37.5, 40, 2.5, 40, 25, 345, 7.5, 350, 2.5, 55, 7.5, 360, 2.5, not 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 360, 2.5, 360, D&D 4. 7.5, 330, now 5, 330, now 5, 330, now 5, money 5, 330, now 5, 335, 40, 5, 50, 5, 360, now 5, 365, 5, 5, 5, 360, D&D number 1. Has not been checked here. 170, now 2.5. 170, now 2.5. Now 5, 7.5. 80, 2.5. 85, 87.5. 187.5. 190, 190, 90, 2.5. 195, 95, 97.5. 7.5, 7.5. 197.5. 197.5. 195. Show number 19. Show 19. $2 now, 2.5. $2 now, 2.5. $2 on the money now, 2.5. $2, 2.5. 2.5. 2.5. 2.7, 10. 2.12.5. 12.5. 15. 17.5. 17 20. 2.5. 25. 27.5. Now 2.30. 2.5. 2.35. 37.5. 40. 2.40. 2.5. 2.5. 2.5. 2.40. 2.5. 2.40. 2.5. 2.40. 8.71. 8.71. $4 now 5. $4 on the money now 5. $4 now 5. 10. 15. 20. 5. 30. 5. 40. 5. 4.45. 4.40 now 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 4.40. D&D number 18. 350 now 5. 350 now 5. 350 now 5. 5. 5. 65. 375. 80. 5. 385. 385. 385. 85. 85. 85. 90. 390. 390. 90. 95. 95. 95. 95. 95. 390. Javier 2. It's happening. $3.50 now 5. $3.50 on the money now 5. $3.55. 5. 5. 55. 55. 60. 5. 375. 80. 385. 85. 85. 385. 385. 380. D&D 35. Here, 370 now 5, 370 now 5, 370 now 5, 5, 5, money 5, 75, 75, 370, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 370, 2.5, 370, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 370, D&D 34, 34. Okay, go hold one, everybody. 380 now 5.95. $4 now 5 now 10 4.15 20 5 30 40 5 4.45 4.40 now 5 5 5 5 4.40 D&D number 31. Okay, by the head, leg him over. 350 by the head now 75. 350 on the money 75. 400 now quarter now hand now 75. $500. 500 and a quarter. 500 and a quarter. 500 and a quarter, 500 and a quarter, 500 and a quarter, now half, 550, 575, 600, now quarter, now half, second half, 75, $700, $700, 675, Javier 2 on by the head, Javier 2. $4 now 5 on the money now 5 10 15 20 5 425 420 now 5 5 5 425 425 420 Troy 2. What's 32 head of Meyer Ranch cattle? Meyer Ranch like we had a while ago. What's like good here? You like them here, 330 now 5. 330 on the money now 5. 330 now 545. 50 5 355. 355 60. 360 now 5. 70 5. 375 80 80 375 80 380 380 375 capital 90 Capital 58. Capital 58. $340 now 5 but $340 now 5 $340 now 5 $340 money 550 $355 $355 $355 $360 $5 $365 $55 $365 $365 $365 $360 launch Wilford Wildy Hey, pretty nice here. Okay, hold the big black bully. 320, now 2.5. 320, now 2.5. On the money, 2.5. 325, 327, 330, 30, 330, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 5, 35, 35, 335, 7.5, 340, 2.5, 340, 2.5, 2.5, 345, 7.5, 347, 50, 350, 2.5, 55, 55, 7.5, 360, 2.5, 360, 2.5, 2.5, 5. You do it, 2.5, 360, 2.5, 360, 2.5. 360 Troy 21. 7 here, 310, 12 and a half, 310, 312 and a half. On the money, 12 and a half, 15. 79, 20, 2.5, 5, 25, 325, 327 and a half, 327 and a half, 327 and a half, 7 and a half, 327 and a half, 327 and a half, 325 Troy 3. Steers 320 now 5, 320 on the money now 5, 320 now 5, 330 5, 40 5, 55, 355, 355 65, 70 5, 375, 375, 5, 375, 370 D&D 34. 335, 340, 335, 345, 50. 355, 355, 360, 365, 70, 375, 80, 80, 380, 80, 75, 80, 80, 80, 380, 380, 380, 380, 375, Letty 94. 7 here, 330, now 5, 330, now 5, 330 on money 5, 5, 5, 40, 5, 345, 340, now 5, 5, 5, 50, 50, 55, 355, 60, 365, 70, 5, 75, 370 Troy, number 4. 350 now 5, 350 now 5, 355 60, 355 360, 355 360, 65, 370, 5, 80, 5, 890, now 5, 395 $4, now 5, $4 now 5, 5, 5, $4 now 5, $4 Brian Hoffman. 7 half, 330, now 5, 330, now 5, 330, now 5, 335, 45, 55, 360, 60, 355, 360, 65, 365, 70, 375, 75, 75, 75, 70, 80, 380, 80, 80, 380, 380, 380, 380, 375, Brian Hoffman. Set 2 steers. $170 $170 $170 now money now 2 $170 $2 $4 72 4 6 78 78 80 182 82 82 84 82 84 84 $84 86 86 88 $88 $88 $88 $88 186 Marty number 45. Oh deal goes with her. 110, 111, 110, 111, 110, on the money, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 118, 119, 20, 21, 22, 23, 123, 22, 3, 3, 122, Tom 1. 7 and 225 7, 227 $9.9, 229 31 3, 5 and 37, 239, 241, 243 5, 245 5 5 5 243 Nolan 29. Two big ones, 7 and 250 now. Any two, 252 4, 252 468, 258 60, $2, $4, $6, 8, 272 4 6, 78 80, 282, 84, 286, 288, 292, bit of board, but a 94 96, 296, 296, 296, 96, 96, 294, Nolan 56. Okay, hold your ticket. Sell the big one. 7 or 220, not 2.5. 220, not 2.5. Money 25, 7.5, 30, even at 2.5, 5, but at 37, 40, but at 240, 2.5, 240, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 240, Nolan 27 on the scales. Sell big one, red ball face, heifer, 220, not 2.5, 220, 2.5, 5, but a 225, 25, 225, 7.5, 230, 2.5, now 5, now 30, 7.5, 40, 2.5, 5, 247, 245, 7.5, 247, 247, 7.5, 7.5. 247, 50, 250, 250, 2.5, 2.5, 55, 7.5, it is 7.5, 7.5, 255, 871, 871, 280, 2.5, 5, 87, 90, 2.5, 97, $3, 2.5, 307, 10, 12.5, 15, 315, 315, 315, 315, 315, 312.5, D&D number 9. Seven hand, 205, 7.5, now 10, 12.5, 15, 7.5, 22 and a 5, 227, 230, 2.5, but 37, 40, but 2.5, but 5, 45, 245, 245, 240, 2.5, Nolan 27. $7, 220, not $2, $2, $4, 6, 8, 32, 4, 36, 38, $40, $2, $4, 244, 244, 444, 94, 94, 94, 242, Nolan 27. Seven and two big ones, $2.20, now two, 224, 226, 228, $30, $2, $4, 6, 8, 238, 40, 240, 240, 240, 240, 238, Nolan 27. 7 and 280, now 2.5, 280, 2.5, money 5, 7.5, 90, 2.5, 95, 290, 290, 290, 290, 2.5, 290, 2.5, 290, capital 31. Okay, Tucker Cadillac we had. 7 here, $3 now 5, $3 now 5, money 5, 10, 15, 20 with a 5, but a 325, 325, now 2.5, 5, but a 327 half, 327 half, 7 half, 325, 7 half, 327 half, 327 half, 327 half, 325, D&D 5-4. 5-4. Seven here, 330, now 29, 330. Hold one, Jody. Hold one, everybody. 330, now 25, 7.5, now 40, now 29, now 5, 47.5, now 350, 350, 29, 355, 355, holding 1, 55, 55, 7.5, 357.5, 360, bit of 60, bit of 360, 360, 357.5, Troy 5. Sell the tag here. $3 now $5. $3 now $5. $3 now money now $5. $3 now $5. $3 now $5. 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 $3 now $5. 10, 15, 315, 310. D&D number 94. Sell a heifer 210, 212, 210, 212, 210. Money 12, 210, 12, 14, 214, 16, 216, 18, 218, 20, 2, 4, 226, 228, 230 with a 2, with a 4, with a 36, 38, 40 with a 2, 242, 242, 240, H 71. Seven hand, 180 and 2, 180 of it, $2.84. 184, 86, 88, 90, 192, 4, 94, 96, 98, 198, $2. $2. 198, shoot 8, shoot number 8. Seven hand, 280, now 2.5, 280, 2.5, 85, 85, 285, 285, 285, 285, 7 hand, 90, 290, 2.5, 97 half, $3, 2.5, 5, 3, 7, 8, 10, 12 and a half, 15, 17, 20, 320, 320, 320, 317 and a half, D&D 23. Seven and a half, 310, 12 and a half, 310, 3, 12 and a half. Money, 12 and a half, 12 and a half, 310, 3, 12 and a half, 310, 12 and a half, 15, 17, 3, 17, 20, 2 and a half, 325, 25, 25, 25, 325, 322 and a half, Javier 2. Seven and a half, 335, now 7 and a half, money, 37 and a half, 335, 7 and a half, 40, 340, 2 and a half, 47 and a half, 350, 2 and a half, 55, 57 and a half, 60, 2 and a half, 5 and a 7 and a half, 367 and a half, 70, 370, 2 and a half, 5 and a 7 and a half, 80, 380, 2 and a half, 82 and a half, 380, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 380, D&D 4. Seven here, $3 now $5, $3 now $5, $3 now $5, money $5, but $3 now $5, 10, 3 and 10, 15, 20, with a bit of 5, with a 330, with a bit of 5, with a bit of 40, with a bit of 340, 335, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 335, Javier 2. Seven half, 190 now 2, 190 but $2 eight, 190 now 2, 2, money 2 with $2, $2, 192, 192, 192, 192, 190, show 7, how's it go? 77, show 77, maybe a little long underneath. $2 now $5, $2 now $5, $2 money $5, $2 now $5, $2 now $5, 10, 2 to 10, 10, 15, 2, 15, 20, 220, 220, 220, 220, 20, 5, 225, 5, 5, 30, 230 now 5, 235, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 230, Brian Hoffman. All right, 240, and that's it. 242 now 5, 45, 7, 8, 52 now 55, 7, 8, 260, 2 and a half now 5, 265, 260, 2 and a half now 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, $5, 262 and a half, Nolan 26. Come right here, 290 now 2.5, 290 now 2.5, 290, 290, 290, 290, 290, 290, but paid 2 and money 2.5, 5, 95, 97 half, $3, 2.5, 35, 37 half, 310, 12 and a half, 15 to 79, 20, 320, 22 and a half, 25, 25, 7 half, 327 half, 30, 330, 32 and a half, 5, 7 half, 337 half, 40, 340, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, 5, 7 half, 347 half, 345, capital number 34. 7 hand, $2 now 5, $2 now money 2, 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 2, 20, 2, 4, 2, 26, 28, 228, 30, 232, 232, 230, Nolan 27. 7 ahead, 250, now 2.5, 250, 2.5, 250, on money, 2.5, 2.5, 57, $60, 2.5, 7, 70, 2.5, now 5, now 75, 275, 272 and a half, capital 31. Cap 7 ahead, 260. Now 2.5, 260, now 2.5, 7.5, 70, 270, with a bit of 70, 70, 70, 2.5. Now 5, now 7.5, 80, 2.5, 85, 87, 90, 290, 290, 90, 90, 90, 290, 290, 290, 290, 290, 90, 290, 290, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 290, capital 31. 7.5, 380, now 5, 380, money, 5, at 380, now 5, at 85, 85, 90, 95, at $4, 5, at 10, 15, 20, 420, 415, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 415, D&D 31. Seven here, 260, now 2.5, 260, now 25, 67 and a half, 72 and a half, 7 and a half, 82 and a half, 87 and 90, 292 and a half, 290, 2 and a half, 290, 290, 290, 290, 2 and a half, 298, 71. Every 7 270, now 2.5, 270, now money, 25, 75, 7.5, 82 and a half, 85, 87 and a half, 92 and a half, 95, 97 and a half, now $3, $3, 2.5, 302 and a half, 5, 305, 7 and a half, 7, 8, 10, but a 10, 12 and a half, 15, but a 3, 15, 15, 15, 312 and a half, EC 60. Heifer, red heifer over there, 220, now 2.5, 220 on the money, 2.5, 220, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 220, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 220, shoat number 8, shoat number 8, 7, 8, $2, 30, 2.5, 230, 2.5, 35, 235, 32 and a half, 5, 5, 5, 35, 35, 35, 232 and a half, Nolan 26. Seven and a half, 305, 7 and a half. What do you need? Oh, 182, 3, 7, 8, 10, 12 and a half. 312 and a half, 15, 379, 320, 2 and a half, 5, 7 and a half, 30, 2 and a half, 332 and a half, 332 and a half, 332 and a half, 332 and a half, 330, D&D 9. Sell the little one over there, 330, now 5, money 540, now 5, now 15, now 5, now 16, now 575, 80, better 380, 380, 380, 380, 380, 375, Troy 21 on the scales. Seven and a half, 330, now 5, 330, now 5, 330 on the money 5. 40, 5, 345, 340, now 5, now 5, 340, EC 550. Black and the little red. 7 at 380 now 5. 38 black and little red. 380 now 5. 380 now 5. 380 now 5. Money 5. 380 now 5. 385, 85, 85, 85, 90, 90, 95, $4, 4, 5, 10, 10, 10, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 410, D&D 31. Okay, sell 2 big ones. 330 now 5. Sell the 2 big ones. 330 now 5. 330 now 5. 330 now 5. 332 and a half. On the money, 2.5. 330, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 5, 35, 335, 7.5, 337, 40, 340, 340, 2.5, 2.5, 5, 345, 7.5, 347, 7.5, 7.5, 345, capital 42.
No, this is mixed out here.
Hey, 7, 330, now 5. 330 on money 5, 40, bit of 5, bit of 50, bit of 5, bit of 360, bit of 5, bit of 70, 375, and 80, bit of 80, 80, bit of 5, bit of 385, 90, 95, 95, 95, 95, 95, 390, Troy number 21. Heaven here, 330 now 5, 330 now 5, money 540, 5, 55, 65, 365, 365, 55, 360, capital 21. Africans, 7.5, 280, 2.5, 280, 257, 90, 2.5, 90, 2.5, 95, 95, 95, 97.5, 297.5, $3, $3, $3, $3, $3, $3, $3, $297.5, EC 60, EC 60. Sell the red one, red one. 7.5, 170 now, $2 two. Money, 2, 1, sell the red. 170, $2 $170, $2, 170, showed 8. And I've been checked here. 7.5, 160, now 2.5. On money 5, 7.5, 70, 2.5, 7.5, 80, 2.5, 85, 87.5, 190, 2.5, 195, 97.5, 197.5, $2, 2.5, 2.5, 5, 7.5, 207.5, 207.5, 207.5, 7.5, 7.5, 205, show number 13, show 13. 245.7, 245.7, not a 7. 245, 247, 247, not a 7, not a 7. 247, 245, 247, 7, not a 7, not a 7, not a. Sell choice, 245.79. 249, 251, 253, 255, 257, 259, 259, 261, 335, 267, 709, $9, 71, 71, 73, 75, 75, 77, $9, 81, 283, 85, 287, 89, 291, 293, 95, 97, 97, 99, now 301, 303, 305, 305, 7, $9, $9, 11, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311, 311. 309, Troy 4. Sell them right here. 220, now 2.5. 220, 2.5. 220, 2.5. 220, 2.5. 220, 2.5. 220, 2.5. 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. 220, now 1. 221. 220, money 1. 221. 221, 221, 221. 220, Brian Hoffman. Mark for ownership. 250 now, 2.5. 250 on the money now, 2.5. 55, 7.5, $60, 2.5, 7.5, 70, 2.5, 7.5, 80, 280, 2.5, 85, 87, 90, 2.5, 95, 97.5, $3, $2.5, 302, 5, 5, 7.5, 7.5, 307.5, 305, D&D 93. Sell one big one, 280, now 2.5. Money, 2.5, 280, 2.5. One big one with the tag, 280, 2.5. 87, 90, 2.5, 5, 97, $3, 2.5, 5, 305, 7, 8, 10, 12 and a half, 15, 379, 20, 320, 2.5, 327, 330, 33, 33, 30, 327 and a half, D&D 5-4. 240 now 5, 240 now 5, 240 now 5, 240 now 5, and 240. Sell the black, 240 now 5. Sell the black one. On the money, 550 now 5. Now 60 now 5. 270 now 5. 280. 280, 280, 280, 285, 85, 290, 95, 295, $3, 305, 305, 305, 305, $3. Brian Hoffman. He's pretty short. 165, 170. 170 on the money, 70. 165, 175. 175, 80. 180, 85, 90, $5, $2, 5, 10. 210, 15. 215, 20. 220 and 5. 225. 225, 25, 25, 25, 225. 220, Tom, 3. Seven there, 330, now 5. 330, now 5. 330, now 540, money, 545, and 345. 345, 345, 550, 355, 355, 355, 365, 555, 70, 375, 75, 370, D&D 31. Here we go, 7 here, 330, now 5, 330, now 5, money 5, 335, 40, now 5, now 50, now 5, now 60, now 5, 365, 365, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 360, Lady 94. 7 here, 315, we sell one of them, Jody. Sell the red, 350, now 5, 65, 75, 85, 95, $4 now, 5, 10, 15, 25, 30, 55, 40, 55, 50, 450, 445, now 50, now 50, now 50, 445, D&D 31. 7 here, $3 now 5, $3 now 5, 10, 15, 25, 35, 340, 5, 345, 50, 350, 350 now 5, 355, 365, 65, 70, 37. $275, 280. On the money, 80. 280, 290. Now $3, now 5, now 10, now 10. 310. 35, 310. $305, 10, 15. 315, 320. 320, now 5. Now 30. Now 330. 330, 330, 330, 330. 325, Javier 2. Okay, sell 2 yellow ones there in the middle. 2 yellow ones. 350, now 5, now 60, now 5, now 75, 85, 95. $4 now 5, $4, 5, 10, 410, 15, 20, 420, 420, 420, 420, 420, 420, 415, Troy 11. Okay, gonna be one more. Andy, gonna be 3 of them. Seven right here, $3 now 5, money 5, 10, 15, 25, 35, 45, 55, 360, now 5, now 70, now 580, 380, 80, 75, 80, 80, 80, 380, 380, 375, H number 27, H 27, 350, now 5, money 5, 60, now 5, now 70, now 5, now 80. 85, 90, 95, $4, $4 now 5, 4, 5, 4 and 5, 4 and 5, $405, $5, 5, $4, Troy 11. Every kind, 7 hand, but $290 now 5, $290 on money 5, $295, $3 now 5, now 10, now 15, now 20, now 2.5, 320, 2.5, 320, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 325, 7.5, 327, 30, 330, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 330, H 37. 7 and a half, 370, now 5, money 5, 85, 95, $4, $4.05, 410, 410, let it in, 15, 420, 420, now 5, 425, 425, 420, Troy, 11. $2.90, now 5, $2.90, now 5. On the money 5, $2.90, now 5, $2.95, $2.95, 95, $3, $5, $10, $15, $20, $3.20, $15, $20, $20, $20, $20, $3.20, $3.20, $3.20, $3.15, H 47. Seven here, $4 now 5, $4 now money. Sell one of them, Jody. Check charge 405, money 5, $4.05, one or both. $4 now 5, $4 now 5, $4 now 5, $4 now 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, $4. Troy 2. Okay, sell a white one now. White one. $3.40 now 5. $3.40 now 5. $3.40 now 5. On the money 5. $3.45.50 now 5. Now 60. $3.60 now 5. $3.65. $3.65. 5, 70. $3.70. $3.70 now 5. $3.70 Troy 2. Two or more, pick to your lap. $3.50 now 5, money 5. $3.55, 60 now 5, now 70, now 5, now 80, now 5, 90, 5, and a bit of $3.95. Pick to you like $3.95, 95, 95, 95, 95, $3.90 Troy 11. No, how do you take a sell the white one? Okay, sell the black. $3.30 now 5. Sell the black. 45, 55, 65. $3.70 now 5. $3.80. $3.80. $3.75, 80, 80, 380, 380, 380, 380, 380, 380. $3.75 Hobby R2. Same right here. 3. Sell Charlotte, $4 now 5. $4 on the money now 5, 10. 4, 10, 15, 20. Now 5, now 30, now 5. 435, 435, 35, 35. 430 Troy 2. 7 here. 330 now 5. 330 on money 5. 45, 55, 65. 375. 375, 80, 380, 380, 380 on a 5, 85, 85, 90, 390, 85, 90, 90, 90, 390, 390, 385, Lady 0. Seven here, 260, now 2.5, 5, 65, 260, 2.5, 5, 7.5, 70, 2.5, 5, 7.5, 80, 280, 2.5, 85, 285, 85, 85, 85, 285, 285, 280, 2.5, 871. Hey, Andy, put the Lady 0 on Show 1. $330 now 5. $330 on the money now 5. $330 now 5. $335. $40. $45. $50. $355. $60. $5. $365. $365. $5. $360 Troy 3. 7 here, 340 now 5, 340 on money 5, 45, 50, 5, 65, 75, 370, 2.5, 370, D&D 35. 7.5, 310, 12.5, 310, 12.5, my 15, 17, 20, 2.5, 5, 325, 25, 7.5, 330, but it's 2.5, 32.5, 35, 337.5, 37.5, 37.5, 37.5, 330, 2.5, EC 550.
Why does that one not have a?
Okay, sell me right there, but it's $72 now 15 out 2.5, 250, 2.5, 55, 55, 2.5, 55, 55, 7.5, 60, 260, 2.5 now 5, 7.5, 70, 270, 2.5, 5, but it's 7.5, but 80, but 2.5, but 85, 85, 285, 280, 2.5, that'll be Nolan 56, Nolan 56. 7.5, 7.5, $2 now 2.5, $2 now 2.5. On the money, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 5, 2.5, 2.5, 7.5, 7.5, 2.7.5, 2.7.5, 2.7.5, 2.5, Lady 95, Lady 95. It's Abraham and 240, now 2.5, money, 25, 7.5, 52 and a half, 52 and a half, 5, 57 and a half, 260, 2.5, 5, but it's 7.5, 70, 2.5, 5, 7.5, 80, but it's 2.5, but 85, 86, 85, 7.5, 287, 90, 290, 2.5, 5, 97 and a half, $3, 2.5, 35, 37 and a half, 10, but 12 and a half, 12 and a half, 15, 315, 315, 315, 315, 315, 312 and a half, Nolan 56, Nolan 56. It's 7.5, 7.5, 240, now 2.5, 240, now 2.5, money, 2.5, 240, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, but 240, 2.5, 240, 2.5, but 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 240, Marty, 45. 7 here, 270, now 5, 270, 2.5, now 5, now 7.5, 80, 2.5, but 80, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 87, 287, 90, 290, 2.5, 95, 97, $3, but $3, 2.5, 302 and a half, 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 $3, Lady 94. It's happening at 220, now 2.5, 220, now 2.5, 2.5, 220, now 2.5, 220, $2 now 2, $2 2, 202, 202, 202, 202, 202, 202, but $2, 180 now 2, 180 now 2, 180, but $2, 2, 82, 82, 82, 82, 160 now 2. Bull yearling, 162, 162, money 2, 162, 2, 2, 2, 2, but $2, 2, 160, Tom 5. It's 7.5, 230, now 2, 230, now 2, 230, now 2, 4, 232, 4, 32, 4, 36, 38, $40, 2, 240, 24, 240, 46, 8, 248, 250, 252, 54, 54, 54, 254, 254, 54, 54, 54, 252, Lady 93. Seven and a half. All right, sell 2 big ones. Well, one over there, 180 now 2, 180 $2, 180 now 2, 180 but bid, one hit by the skills, 180 now 2, 180 but bid, $2, 2, but $2, $2, 182, 160 now 2, 160 on the money 2, 2, but $2, 162, 4, 64, 62, 4, 4, 6, 166, 164, Tom 5. 140 now 1, 140 now 1, 140, keep it to 1. Money 1. 140 now 1. Keep it to 1, that 1, that 1, that 1. Money's down now 1. 141, 141, 141, 140. Marty number 17. One 85, 185, 85, 87, 185, 97, 9, 89, 91, 93, with about 93, 193, 33, 33, 191, Nolan 27. Okay, hold one big one. 275, 77, 9, 279, 81, 83, 85, 87, 287, 85, 87, 87, 87, 285, 87, 87, 9, 289, 91, 91, 293, 93, 5, 95, 95, 97, 297, 97, 97, 97, 97, 97, 9, 299, 299, 301, 301, 301, 301, 299, lady number, show you wait. They go to Lady. Happening 270 now two. $270 2 4 74 270 2 4 4 4 4 4 4 6 76 76 276 276 276 274 D&D 53. So what did it sell? The little one 220 now two. Molly face 220 924 220 46 28 $30 $2 $4 $6 $8 $240 242 4 44 6 8 248 $50 254 254 256 258 260 254 66 $8 $70 272 4 74 76 78 80 282 24 84 86 88 90 292 292 292 292 290 show number 6 show 6 $170 now two. $170 on the money now two. 172 4 76 78 82 84 86 88 90 192 4 96 96 98 $2 $2 $2 2 202 202 202 202 202 $2 Brian Hoffman 5 BH 5. Tell the bull 230 924 234 13 94 94 94 94 94 234 34 34 34 34 232 Nolan 56. Seven here 370 now 5 on the money 5. 370, money's down now 5. 375, 375, 80, 80, 80, 85, 85, 90, 395, 95, 395, 95, 95, 95, 95, 390. Troy 11. Two big ones sell, two big ones. $4 now 5. $4 now 5. Two big ones, $4 now 5. $4 now 5. $4 now 5. 5, 5, 5, 370 now 5. 375, 370 now 5. Money 5. 375, 5, 5, 5, 370. Troy 2. Troy 2. Troy 2. 7 here. $4 now 5. $4 now 5. $4 money 5. 10, 15, 415, 410, 415, 15, 15, 20. 420, 420, 425, 25, 25, 30, 430, 430, 430, 430, 430, 430, 425, Brian Hoffman. Weigh the cow. Weigh the cow. 150, now 151. Able to 1 to 1. A1, money 1, 2, 3, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, $59, 58, 9, 60, with the 1, 162, 3, with the 333, 163, 162, show number 8. 350 now 5. 350 now 5. 350 now 5. 350 now 5. Money 5. 355. 5, 5, 5, 5. 55, 55. 350 Troy number 3, 4. Troy 4. Troy 4. Sell the young cow 4 months bred. Baby tooth, 2,000, now 2,100. 21, money, 2,100, 21, 2,100. 2,000, now 50, now 50, now 21, 21 and a half, 22, $2,200 now half, 22 and a half, 3, half, a bit more, 2,400, now half, 24 and a half, 2,400 now $50, $50, $50, 2,450, 2,450, 2,400, show 13. 4 months bread, where 133, 134, 133, 134, 133, money, 4, 33, now 4, 134, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40, 1, 2, 43, 4, about 5, 146, 47, 48, $9, 48, 9, 149, 59, 9, 148, D&D 104. Bred to Akazushi Bull. Yes, sir, they are nice. Boy, all their vaccinations, baby, tooth, and solid mouth. 2,100 and a half, 21 now half, now 2 now half, now 3 now half, now 23 and a half, 2,300 and a half, 2,400, 2,400 and a half, 24 and a half, 24 and a half, 2,500 now half, 25 and a half, 2,600, 2,600 now half, 26 and a half, 2,700, 2,700, 2,700 now half, 27 and a half, 28. $2,800, $2,800 now half, 28 and a half, $2,900, $2,900, 28 9 and a half, 29 and a half, 29 and a half, 2,900 and a half, 2,900 now 50 now 50 now 50 now 50 now 50. Sold them $2,900. Archie Crenwell-Gee. Same cattle bred the same way. 2,200 now half, 22 and a half. On the money now half, 23, 23 now 24, 24 now 25. Sell 2 of there, 2,500 and a half, 25 and a half, 26, 26 and a half, 26 and a half, 2,600 and a half, 2,700, 27 and a half, 2,800, 2,800, 28, 3,000 now 50, 3,000 now 50, now 31, 31 and a half, 31 and a half, 31 and a quarter help, 31 and a quarter, 31 and a quarter, 3100 and a quarter, $3,100, show 13. Solid mouth cow, 5 months bred. $2,000 now 2,100. 2,000 now 2,100. 2,000 now 50. 2,000 now 50. Now 50 on the money. Now 50. 2050. 2050. 2,000 50. 2,000 now 50. 2,100. 2,100. 2,100. Now half. 21 and a half. 2,200. 22. 21 2 and a half. 22 and a half. 2,300. 2,300 and a half. 23 and a half. 23 and a half. 23 and a half. 2,400, 2,400 and a half, 24 and a half, 24 and a half, 24 and a half, 5, 2,500, 2,500, 2,500, 2,500 and a half, 25 and a half, 25 and a half, 26, 2,600, 2,600, 2,600, 2,550, Archie Crenwell-Gee. 6 months bred. 23, now half, 23, money half, 4, now half, now 5, now half, 26, 25 and a half, 2,600, 25 and a half, 2,600. 25 and a half, 2,600, 2,600, 2,600, 2,600, 2,550, show 13. Boys, good age cow, 4 months bred, 1,700 and a half, 1,700 and a half, 1,700 on the money and a half, 1,700 and a half, 1,700 and a half, now half, now half, 1,700 and a half, 1,800, 18 and a half, 1,900, 19 and a half, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,050, 2,050, 2050, 2050, 2050, 2,000 now 50, 50, 2,000 now $50, $50, $50, $2,000. Kenny 4. Kenny 4. Head right here, weigh him, and 155, 56, 7, 8, now 9, now 60, now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 66, 7, 168, 9, 170, 170, 170, 170, 170, 170, 170, 169, Lone Star. You bet. You talk about a real lady. Look over here. 1900 now half. 1900 and a half. 1900 on the money half. 2000 now 50 now 1 now half now 2. 22, 2 and a half. 23, 23 and a half 4. 24 and a half 5. 25 and a half. 2500 now half. $2,550. 2550. 2550. 2550. 2500. Show 13. Yes, sir. Boy, look at that good shiny calf. 2100, now half, now 2, now half, now 3, now half, now 4, now half, now 5, now half. 26, 27, 27, 28, 27, 28, 27 and a half. $2,750. $2,750, $50, $50. $2,700 now 50, now 50, now 50, now 50. Sold her $2,700. Jody, you got him up here? You know? Click, clamp, clamp, clamp. Cow is short, solid, 4 months bred. 140 now 1. Evident wear 1. Money 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 47, 46, 7, 8, 48, 49. 148, 9. 148, $9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. 148, D&D 104, D&D 104. Pretty good heifer right here, but the one, number 2, what do you got? 290 now 2. 290, $2.24. 290, 24. 292, 94, 94, 94, 94, 94, 94, 94, 94. 292, capital 90. Seven hand, 290 now 2. 290 on money, $2 2. 292, $292, $292, $292, $290, capital number 90. $1,800 young as she can be. $1,800, $1,900, 18 on the money and a half. $1,800 and a half. Now half it at $1,900, $1,900 now half, $1,900 and a half, $2,000. $2,000, $2,000, $2,000, $2,000, but a 19 half, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. 1950 show 13, show 13. With a bull calf. 26, 2,700, 26 young, as she can be 27, 28, 2,700, 2,800, 2,800, 27, now 8, now 9, 2,900, 28 and a half, $2,850, 2,850, 2,850, 2,900, 2,900, now half, 29 and a half, 2,900 and a half, 9 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 and a half, 2,900 and a half, 2,900, show 11, 211, put them on 211. Yes, sir, they're raising those calves. 2,500 and a half, 2,500 on the money and a half, now 6 and a half, 26 and a half, 2,700, 2,700 and a half, and 8, 2,800, 2,800, 2,800, 28 and a half, 2,800 and a half, 28 and a half, 2,800 and a half, 2,800, now half, it a bit 28 and a half, 2,800 and a half, now half, it a bit 28, 9, $2,900. 2,900, now half, 29 and a half, 2,900 and a half, now half, it a bit 2,900 and a half, now half, it 29 and a half, 29 and a half, sold them, 2,900, show, 211, 211. All right, look him over here. Fertility test. All right, boys, they are sound and ready to go. Okay, yeah, waiting on the trick results, but they did both. They did. Okay, sell lead choice. By the head. $950, $975, $1,000, $1,000, $975. Now 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, one or both. $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, $1,000 and a quarter, 10 a quarter, 10 and a half, 10 and a half, 10 and a half, 10 and a quarter, 10 and a half, 10 and a quarter, 10 and a half, 10 and a quarter, 10 and a half, 10, one or both, 10 and a half, 10 and a half, 1075, 1070, your choice, 1075, 1100, 1100, 1100, $1,100, $1,100, $1,100, $1,100, $1,100, $1,100, 1075, Marty. Number 22.
Next up, 2929. 2929.
Said little one, little one. Here's a steer. $220, 224, 224, 446, 8, but 32, but 4, and 6, but 8, 40, 240, 240, 240, 40, 40, 40, 240, 240, 238, Nolan 29. Steer 205, 207, 205, 79, 209, 999, 58, 9, 58, 9, $209, 9, 9, 9, 58, 9, 58, 9, 58, 9, 58, 9, 9, 209, 207, Shoat 77. He's a man. $7, $2 now two, $2 now two, $2 two, 4, 2, 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. 208, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22, 4, 226, 28, 30, 232, 34, 34, 6, 38, 40, 2, 4, 46, 248, 50, 252, 4, 254, 6, 8, 258, $60, $2, 262, 222, $2, 260, Shoat 77. Have it here, 250 now two. On the money, $2, 252, 4, 6, 8, $60, $2, $4, $6, 8, 272, $2, 474, 276, 78, 80, 282, 280, capital 5.
JAM LLC.
All bull calves. Boy, you talk about the real deal. 27 and a half, 2,800, 28 on money 8, 28 and a half, 28 and a half, 29, 29 now half, 9 and a half, $3,000, 3,000 and a half, 30,000 now, 31, 31, 31, 31 and a half, 2, 3,200, 32, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 32 and a half, 30,200 and a half, 32 and a half, 2 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 and a half. 32 and a half now 3, 33, 33, 33 and a half, 33 and a half, 3,300 and a half, 33 and a half, 39, 39, 39, 39, 33 and a half, 33 and a half, 3,300, Shoat number 311, 311. Weigh the big cow. 148, 9, 148 on the money 9, $9, 48, 49, 51, 2, 3, 54, 5, 55, 54, now 5, now 6, now 7, 57, 58, 58, 58, 58, 158, 158, 158, 157, Lone Star. 330, now 5, 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 335. 335. Y'all see the good bull calf? 335. $3 now 5. On up. $3 now money now 5. $3 5. $3 5. $3 5. $3 Tom 3. $150 now 2. $150 $2. 150 on the money now 2. 52. 52. 52. 152. 152. 152. 152. 152. 4, 6, 8, 62, 2, 2, 4, 6, 66, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 166, Marty 45, Marty 45. $135, $137, $135, money 7, $135. 37.9, 41, 43, 45, 47, 49, 151, 153, 155, 155, 7, 159, 161, everybody 161, 161, everybody 159, Marty, number 4. Boys have had pro back, micro back, and black leg, had all their shots. Two blacks, so two blacks, $3, now 2.5. How many 2.5? $3 now, 2.5. 302.5, 305, 7.5, 10, 12 and a half, 15, 15, 79, 317, 79, 79, 79, 315, D&D 9. So the red, 7.5. Cox red a little bit. 180 now 2. 180 now 2. 180 now 2, money 2. $2, 182, 182, 4. 84, 84, 86, 88. 190, 92, 92, 4. 94, 94, 96, 96, 96, 96. 98, 98, 98, now $2, $2, $2, $2, 2. 202, 202, 204. 246, $6. 204, Lady, 93. Two blacks. 290 now 2, 290, 24, 96, 98 now $3, 2, 4, 6, 8, 310, 10, 10, 10, 310, $10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, about 10, 308, capital number 90, sell a red, 250 now 2, 250 now 2, 250 now 2, on the money, $2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 4, yes sir, now 6, now 8, now 60, now 2, 4, 6, 8, but about 70, 272, 2, 2, but $2, $2, $2, $2, $2, 270, EC 60. $7 or 270 now 2, 270, 2, 4, 6, 8, 82, 4, 86, 88, 288, 290, 92, 4, 94, 94, 96, 96, 98. Now $3, $3, 2, 302, 304, 304, 6, $6, $6, $6, $6, 306, 306, 306, 304, Troy 23. 280 now 2, 280, 246, 88, 92, 94, 96, 98, $3, $3, 2, 302, 304, 304, 446, 368, $308, 10, 10, 10, 10, 12, 312, 312, 14, 14, 14, 14, 312, capital number 3. That black leg cattle master, 280 now 5, 280 now 5, 280 on the money 5, 95 now $3 now 5 now 10 now 15, 315, 20, 5, 325, 325, 325, 30, but 330, 330, 330, 330, 330, 325, Lady 94. Okay, boys, they have been weaned 1 month and had a 7-way shot from up there at Water Valley. Okay, gonna hold the tag and the next biggest one. You're buying 3 head. 295, 97, 97, 97, 295, 297, 295, 97, 99, 99, 99, 299, 297, 99, 99, 301, 301, 301, 301, number 13, 303, 305, 307, 307, 307, 307, 797, 97, 97, 97, 97, 305, EC 60. 7 head, 260 now 2, $260, $2, 4, 266, 872, 46, 78, 270, 80, 280, 80, 290, 80, 80, 280, 280, 280, 278, capital 94. Steers, 7 here, 305, 307, 305, 307, 305, 307, money 7, number 305, 7, 307, 7, not a 7, not a 7, not a 305, 307, 9, 309, 309, 999, 309, 309, 309, 307, Simpson, 36. Look ahead, Fire Shield 6 and 8-way. Sell two little ones there. $290 now two. $290 but the money two. $292. $292.04. $294.96. $296. $98. $98. $3. $3. But a two. $302. $4. $304. $6. But $8. $308. $10. $10. $10. $12. But $12. $14. $316. But $18. $318. $20. But $320. $322. $22. But $2. $2. $4. But $6. $328. $330. But $2. But $4. But $34. $36. $38. $340. But $40. $40. $340. $338. EC 550. 7 hat. 280 now two. 282 46. 88 92 4. 96 98 $3. $3 2. 302. 302. 302. 302. 222. But $2. $3. Simpson 36. 7 here. $3 now 5. $3 now 5. Money 5. $3 now 5. 302. 302. 222. 4. 304 6 8. 308 10. 12, 12, 14, 16, 316, 18, 318, 20, 322, $4, 324, 6, 328, 328, 30, 330, 330, 328, lady number 93. 7 half, 150 now one. $150 money, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 57, 58, 59, 158, 9, 9, 9, 9, $9, 158 Lone Star. Steer 290 now 2 4 96 98 now $3 2 with a 4 6 with 8 with a 10 310 12 with a 14 with a 3 14 16 18 20 320 now 2 2 2 4 4 26 326 326 324 D&D 60. That's the same way shot in anthrax. 315, 3. Sell the black ball him any more as you want. 317, 19, 319, 319, 19, 17, 19, 19, 19, 319, 319, 319, 319, 317, Simpson 6. Simpson 6. 310, 312. Money 12, 310, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 320, 2, 24, but 24. 324, 324, 324, 322, D&D 50. Sell the black ball face bull. 280 now 2. 282 4. 282 4. 282 4. 84. Sell the black ball face. 224. 82 84 84 84 84 84. 282 Nolan 56. Sell the big one. Big. Sell the big one, ball face. 270 now 2. 270 money 2. 272, 222. Sell the big one. 272, $270 Nolan 26. Nolan 26. Sell right here. 305, 307. 305 money 7. 305 7. 307 not a tab, not a tab, not a 305 557 not a tab, not a tab, not a tab. 305 Simpson 36.
That's more. 104 with 04,
7 here, 330 now 5. 330 now 5. 330 now 5. 5 money 5. 40. 345, 350, 355, 360, 355, 60, 355, 360, 360, 355, capital 35. $335, 3 on the money, now 40, 335, 340, 337 and a half, 335, 37 and a half, 40, 340, now 40, now 40, 340, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, 45, 45, 45, 45, 7 and a half, 347 and a half, 347 and a half, 347 and a half, 347 and a half, 345, capital number 35. Well, I guess I see it. Each and every one of me, thank you, appreciate your business. Don't forget, don't come around next week. Nobody will be here. See you 2 weeks from today.